morning. I can't see my slides here, but are they going to? There they are. And how do I, here we go, great. All right, 5 minutes on learnings from the current cycle, successes and challenges from me. I've been lucky enough to be leading and driving this bus for the last few years, but will be actually handing it over to a very competent driver in the coming days and weeks. She's already started lots of work. So first things first, timing is everything, and we were extremely lucky when Chris Crockford came for interview, and I can honestly say that that single individual has been the single most important thing that has led to what we would consider great successes of our cluster. A person who had the dedicated time to pull us all together, because we're a very disparate family, as a lot of families can be, but that particular individual happens to be he's just likable, and he's great at building morale and building teams and having great ideas about how to do that. And he's pretty handy with graphics and PowerPoints and data as well, which really helps. So a program manager who has the time to build the team and to think of things like grant writing support for junior educators, getting the multidisciplinary team involved, really including everybody and thinking about what we can do better is definitely the single most important thing that can nod towards success. I am proud to say that we have seen a leap in our clinical trial accrual numbers. I'll show you a slide, which I'm always asking Chris for the updated slide because I love it so much. But I think you'll see that we did work and solidify our strengths. We've always been good in some particular fields and tried to broaden our scope with some success. We've done that via collaborations and partnerships with everybody we could think of, new partnerships with palliative medicine, surgeons, dietetics. Not all of these have worked straight away, but I think we've planted some really strong seeds, and those are starting to bear fruit. And so you see that reflected in the broadening of our portfolio to include non-IMP trials, investigator-initiated trials, things like hematology at St. Vincent's had certainly potential, was always really strong in the matter, but we needed to pick it up. And you can see that we've done so. So the red curve shows our non-interventional studies, and the green one shows interventional study trial accrual over 5 years. Now, we all acknowledge that we were starting from a low base. Our numbers, as everybody's during COVID were low. So you'll see on the left-hand side, we've taken our 5-year average during 2017 to 2021 as our base. And we were recruiting well under 100 patients to both non-interventional and interventional trials before then. And now, last year, we recruited well over 300 to non-interventional trials and well over 200 patients to interventional trials. Other things I think we've tried to do well, and happily the successes outweigh the challenges in my slides, but we've really focused on bringing everybody along with us and trying to train the next generation of clinical trialists. So we've just wangled and shaken every tree to try and get support for MD fellows, to offer small travel bursaries, courses, educations. We've supported PhD writing for one of our nurses, trying to really bring further everybody's interest, because we've got the people and they're interested. And I think that's one of the real keys to retention, is to offer people career advancement and education opportunities. We're not always able to offer them more money, so offering them other incentives to keep good people is important. We've tried to develop our brand. Our website is excellent. I'll show you some pages from that. A monthly newsletter that goes out nationwide telling everybody what's available, and running symposia every 9 months or so across the academic and clinical sites. We have flexed our academic partner, so we were able to offer, for example, UCD contracts to a couple of people, which definitely helped us get over the hospital embargo on hiring. I know not everybody has those same opportunities, but that was never easy, but something we've been able to do to get a couple of key posts over the line. And we offered adjunct UCD appointments to our research staff, which was a really nice thing. It didn't cost them anything, didn't cost the university anything, but they got library access, they got an adjunct appointment on their letterhead, and they can apply for, discounted gym membership at UCD. So these are small things, but definitely positive things, and I think helped to build a feeling of community and family, that we're all part of the same institution, we're all UCD employees in some way. And I'm very aware that this needs to grow and continue to thrive. and I don't have any protected research time. And I think Gráinne O'Kane, some of you may know, has started as our translational chair in Vincent's. She's got incredible energy and a focus on research, and that's who should be leading the cluster going forward. And she'll be taking over as director. And we're also trying to transition some of our research staff to be employees of the hospital. For clinical nursing staff, they would like and ought to have the same advancement and career opportunities to be ANPs, to be CNM3s, to progress through employment and have the same pension rights as their clinical colleagues. So we're not all the way there, but that is something we're doing with an eye to the future. This is a look at our lovely website with our lovely logos and colours. And, you know, for example, Chris did 2024 year in review. It's up there on the website, and we get quite a little bit of traction and traffic to our website. It's not always happy families. We are two different institutions. We have multiple different governance structures. As most of you will know, we're going for two separate OECI applications, and that doesn't help. People are exhausted. They have committee meeting fatigue. Nobody's sure who their boss is today, what regional area we're in today. We're in two different RHOs. So our future is clear as mud, and that is definitely a problem. We have too many overlapping structures, and no one's sure what the soup du jour is. And I have to be honest and say there's been, at times, differing levels of engagement. And I'm sure I look forward to hearing what everybody else is going to say. But the same people turn up at the meetings, and no good deed goes unpunished, right? So those that turn up end up doing the jobs, and there's always a to-do list for the same trusty few. At times, the trusty few differed a little bit from site to site, but that was a challenge for everybody. Staff recruitment. Nationally, we're going to hear that from everybody, particularly in the beginning. We struggled filling our nursing posts, but also administrative posts on the clinical trial sites. It's true of every Dublin hospitals, and I presume across the country. And this cycle of the grant coincided with a time of changeover in consultant staff in the Mater Hospital. And every clinical trial needs a champion. And for a little while, we were lean on champions. But happily that is improving. And also I would say personally, I didn't write our original grant. That was written by somebody else, although I came in at the very end of the writing process. So and we had changeover of staff. So we had a team of people working on grants and objectives that we hadn't designed in the first place. And sometimes there's one particular work package for, Chris will know, I don't really know what we meant by that. And we've struggled, and that's inevitable because we evolve and transition and our staff turns over, and then we're left with packages that don't make a lot of sense to us. For example, and some we were never going to be able to meet. So work package 4 was something about IT systems and suggested that we would have a shared clinical trial database and we'd have everything visible across the sites, different hospitals, different governance. That's never going to happen, I'm afraid. Hematology clinical trials have been so strong at the Mater for years, and we thought that would be easy to replicate in St. Vincent's. It hasn't been easy. We're finally over a lot of the hurdles, but that was challenging. And I'm aware that our accrual numbers, though strong, are dependent still on a few heavy hitters. We've always been good at adjuvant breast. Donald Brennan had a few brilliant trials in cognitive behavioural therapy for hot flushes, for sleep disturbances in women, which were really good trials. Last year, we had a palliative medicine survey, which was our greatest accruer. But I'd love to see a broader base of trials that are recruiting well. Our research nurses are absolutely saturated. That's going to be a limiting point for us until we figure out how to employ more staff. And I felt we lacked timely and constructive feedback from the HRB. As you all know, we've been tasked with filling and returning exhausting and exhaustive reports, and then we don't get anything back. So, minimal back, maybe a paragraph back 6 months later, 9 months later, which I didn't think seemed fair. One slide on learnings. Hire the very best people you can, and luck has a lot to do with that, I'll admit. Try and offer them career-enhancing opportunities, feed them back, have the team training. The team lunch and learn days have been great for us. Say yes to everything, meet everybody, have coffee with everybody. You never know what will be the next big hit, and you can always decide later whether or not you're actually going to do it. Great.